Hey everybody, welcome to Sampler. We're going to work on November's block. Okay, we've got a couple of things to do today, but we are going to make flying geese. You're actually going to make two different sets of flying geese, but I'm going to show you just one of them first. So I'm using these two fabrics. All right, so this is going to be, what is it? I think it's A and B flying geese. So I already took the back side of my squares and I drew a diagonal line. All right, and I'm going to place it in the corner. So we're making flying geese here. I'm going to place it in the corner as perfectly as I can, and I'm going to pin it. So I'm just going to pin it in place. I'm going to take another square, put it in the opposite corner, and I'm going to show you this before I sew it. So I'm placing it in the opposite corner as best as I can. I'm going to pin. All right, so this is what it looks like after I've marked that diagonal line and I've pinned it, and I pinned it away from where I'm going to be sewing, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch on both sides of that line. So let me start. Okay. And one thing I forgot to mention is the top piece, the first piece that I'm sewing, I want that to overlap the bottom piece. And the reason I do that is if I have the bottom piece on top, it's going to kind of pucker and pull away, and I don't want that. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Okay, so I started to sew here, and I want this piece to be on top of that piece. It's going to make your life easier, and it's not going to pucker. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it around and sew the other side at a 1/4 inch. All right, so I'm going to take out the pins. Pins are out. I'm going to cut right on that marked line. All right, and now I'm going to press it. So first I'm going to press it flat, just the way it is. And then I'm going to press it, my little triangles to the side, and it's going to form a little heart. And that little heart is a good thing. You want it to look like a heart. So this is what I have, and I'm just going to put it back here for now. So I'm going to have two of those. So this is my second one. This is the other half of what I just sewed. And I'm just encouraging those little triangles to be pressed, so I can gently press it and not distort it while I'm pressing. So here's what I have, my little heart. I'm going to take another square that's marked, pin it in the corner as perfectly as I can get it. All right. And if your machine is the kind of machine that wants to eat your points, then you don't want to start at this end, then you're going to want to start at this end if your machine eats points. And those of you who have that issue know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to get this one ready too, so I can do them both. Again, I want that square lined up really nice in the corner. I'm going to pin it. All right, it's pinned. And I can just feed that right in as well. So I have 2 of these half sewn. All right, so now I'm going to sew on the other side of that marked line. And I find that once it's half sewn, it doesn't want to eat the point as much, so I can start at that really pointy end. All right, let me cut these apart. Take out the pins. And I'm going to cut on that marked line. And I'm going to press. And so by using this method, I end up with 4 identical flying geese. And just be careful you don't stretch anything. So this is what I made. I have 4, so let me press the rest of them. Okay, so I have these all sewn, and now I'm just going to cut off these little bits. You can use a rotary cutter, scissors, whatever you have handy and whatever you choose to use. Let me do this one now. Okay. All right, so now I have these flying geese, and I've already made the other set of flying geese, which are these. And I'm going to sew them together so that I have a big background arrow in the center. So it looks like an arrow. And I'm going to make 4 of those. So I'm just going to put these right sides together. You can use the picture and the instructions for the layout. make sure my ends meet. I'm unthreaded. So you guys got to bear with me for a minute. You guys never run out of thread or bobbin or anything, do you? Probably never. All right, so we're threaded. All right, let me try that again. All right, right sides together, line up my ends. Get this end all lined up. Get the raw edges to line up, and I'm good to go. Okay, I have 4 of these to make. And I just want to keep making it so it looks like I have that arrow in the center. This one off so you can see it. It's not pressed, but you get the idea. So that's what I'm making right now, making 4 of these. Last one. All right. So now I'm going to cut these apart. Scissors. And I'm going to press it. And so I have a choice of which way to press it. And I'm going to press it this way because the bulk of this point is harder to press against than pressing against these little triangle bits on the corners. So I just like to press it the way that it's going to lie flatter. That's what it looks like pressed. So let me get the others done. One more. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to take a square, and then I have a rectangle, and I'm just going to sew the rectangle onto the square. Doesn't matter which side I sew it on. Okay, I'm going to iron it towards that that little rectangle I sewed on. Okay. Okay, so this is what I have. And then to copy what I did in the pattern, I'm going to sew this on this side, but it really doesn't matter, this side or this side, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm just going to put right sides together. And I'm going to sew it, making sure my ends meet. Okay, I'm going to press it towards the rectangle. And that's what I made. So we're actually ready now to put the block together. And let's see what it's going to look like. Well, that's really crooked. And with this block, I thought these give it an outline. They give the star an outline. I thought that was a cool look. Okay, so now I'm just going to sew it together in rows. Make my ends meet. You can either hold it or pin it in place. Your ends. So while I'm sewing it, what we've done in this block is make flying geese, and then also taking squares and rectangles and sewing them together. To make those little corner pieces. Want my ends to meet. So when I press this, I want to press it towards the plain rectangle part instead of against the flying geese. There's a lot going on with the flying geese, so I'm going to go towards this rectangle. So let me iron that, and then I'll put it back up on the board. The middle one has a plain square, so I'm going to iron it towards that plain square for less bulk. Again, I'm pressing towards that background rectangle, nice and flat. All right, so So I'm going to add this last piece. Make sure my ends meet. This one. Make my ends meet. All right, cut these apart. I'm going to press. I'm going to press it towards the, which side? I'm going to press it towards the rectangle, that background rectangle. I'm going to press it towards the middle. And plain rectangle. All right, so now I'm going to sew the rows together, and I'm going to match up the seams here and here. I'm going to pin those first. Let me do the other one. Okay, so these are pinned. So I'm just going to sew it end to end. But I want my ends to meet. I definitely want them to meet. I don't want one to be longer than the other. So a stitch or two before the pin, I take out my pin because I don't want anything to shift. Okay, so right before the pin, I stop, take out the pin, but I leave the pin in as long as I can. Sew the other side on, and then I'm going to look at how I'm going to press it. All right, I have my seams meeting. Pin it really close to that seam. Get this one to meet. Make my ends meet. Take out a pin. out my pin, make my end meet. All right, so here's my block, and when I press it, I'm going to press it to the top and bottom. I think it would be better to go this way and this way than towards all these flying geese, I think. I always want it to be the flattest it can be, and sometimes you have to sacrifice one side that may not lay quite as flat, but you have to pick one side. And so I kind of press it where it's really bulky. I kind of encourage the fabric to bend that way. It works for me. So then when I put the iron on, it will just kind of glide over the seam a little bit easier, and it doesn't distort as much. Okay, so here's that first seam that's pressed, and let me do the second one. Again, press it flat. I encourage each seam by just pushing on it a little bit, and then give that center of that flying geese a little extra push, just to really encourage the iron to go over it without distorting. Okay. Other than threads, we're all done. Thanks for watching.